welcome everybody. SF Live episode 109 this morning. In a few seconds, I'll be joined by Sam Ash. He's the president CEO of Bunker Hill Mining, a company I'm personally really excited about to see what they're up to in Idaho. The company has a lot of legacy issues, a lot of things to work through, but the new management team is phenomenal, and I'm quite excited to have Sam Ash here with us today to talk about it and run us through what they're planning to do. But before we get started, please be reminded to follow us on Twitter, follow us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button, and leave a comment, leave a like. We always like hearing from you. Also, make sure to use hashtag AskBNKR. That's the company's ticker. And they're still listed on the CSE, but they're uplisting to the Toronto Venture Exchange very soon. We'll get to the details there in a second. So make sure to use that hashtag on Twitter. We'll get to the questions at the end of our conversation with Sam, or if fitting, I'll actually try to sprinkle them in as well. Now, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Sam Ash. Sam, thanks for joining us this morning and really appreciate it. It's great talking to you. This is the first time we're chatting. Welcome on the program.
Thank you, Kai. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, there's a lot of history. There's so many things. Like, I was talking to you beforehand, and I said, like, we could easily make this an hour and a half long episode. Bunker Hill has a lot of legacy, and good and bad. And actually having you chatting with us is phenomenal because your parents used to work at Bunker Hill. You're a kid of the area, and run us through firsthand history how you learned about it, the history of the mine. We're all going to catch up on the story together. So let's work through that.
Absolutely. So the Bunker Hill mine is really has a pretty long and storied history in the history of American mining industry in America. The mine was actually founded and operated for over 95 years, starting in the late 1800s. And over that period of time, it was one of the driving factors and one of the cornerstone assets that fueled the American Industrial Revolution, and it produced an awful lot of metal over its 95-year history.
And your dad used to work in the mine, and you're back in Kellogg right now, so there's a personal connection to it all. And I always love when the CEO is actually on site as well. So run us through the more recent history of the company and run us up all the way up till March. Like, what has happened? What was the plan? And then we'll dive into more details from March moving forward.
Well, absolutely. I guess I'll start in 1981. So in 1981, the mine was closed, and it was a combination of factors. One was increasing environmental regulation, the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act. One was some labor unrest, and also a low commodity cycle. So at that point, the mine went into care and maintenance. It was operated again briefly in the early 1990s, but since 1992, there really has been no work at the mine site. There was a series of companies and promotional focused companies that made some attempts and tried to advance the project. But at the end of the day, there was really no meaningful work, no drilling, no work on the resource, and myself and Richard Williams, my executive chairman, we came in early this year, late March, early April, and really what we focused on was advancing the project. I think it's certainly important to understand that Richard and myself, we believe 100% that the way to go forward is to produce some meaningful results, and really we really see that to be a cornerstone asset of what we intend to be a multi-asset mining company. That's very important. Although we are in a kind of brownfield exploration stage right now, we're here to build a mining company and produce metals and sell to the market.
Fantastic. Run us through quickly the production history of Bunker Hill before we dive in. And you touched on March already, March, April, and we're going to get to all those details. I want to hear about them. And you mentioned Richard already, so a lot of things. But just in a nutshell, what was produced there? What came out of it?
Well, the mine is a polymetallic ore body. There's no doubt about that. Starting in the late 1800s. It was mined as a lead mine. In the early 1900s, the advancement of smelting technology allowed the zinc component of the ore body to be exploited and produced out of. And over that 100-year history of operation, the Bunker Hill Mining Company was a primary lead zinc producer. What's really interesting is over that period of time, over 165 million ounces of silver were produced, entirely as a byproduct. No operational focus and no geologic focus was put into the silver component of the deposit, which is really pretty exciting for us. We think that there is an opportunity to look at this deposit and look at this property through a new lens that has never really been looked at or viewed through. That being said, it is a polymetallic deposit, and a lot of the value in the asset will be polymetallic in nature.
Gotcha. And let's touch on that. And then there's you hinted at it, but I want to dive down just a little deeper. You and Richard, when you joined in March, and we're going to get to your personal history and Richard's history in a second as well. But what attracted you to the asset? Like, why were you attracted to Bunker Hill? I'm sure you had options.
Well, when I was looking at an opportunity to do something more entrepreneurial in the mining space, really what I was looking for was the opportunity to kind of build a different mining company. From my history, I was certainly worked from within the industry, but I was looking for a challenge to be able to create a company in kind of the view and the mold of what I think the direction of the mining industry is taking. And I think that what you see on the macro level is you see a voracious and expanding appetite for commodities and metals going forward. But at the same time, society is demanding that mining take place in a much different way, much more socially aware, and certainly more environmentally aware. A move towards lower environmental impact, having a very much a positive social impact, and moving away from. And I think that that's going to be moving away from kind of the multi-billion-dollar capital investment with an outsized environmental footprint and the negative social impacts that can come with operations of that scale and magnitude. That coupled with the fact that deposits that justify that level of capital expenditure are becoming rarer and rarer. And I think that if you look around North America in particular, there's a subset of assets that are stranded for one reason or another, that are distressed for past environmental performance, social license to operate. And I think that with the right management team and the right focus, that there's a tremendous amount of value to be created by looking at and tackling the challenges associated with distressed assets head on. And that's really the kind of the type of asset that we're looking for, and that's what we see the opportunity to create value in a space that is overlooked somewhat.
Interesting. Yeah, those are excellent facts, and I wanted to dive a little deeper on ESG when asking more about Bunker Hill in detail. But before we get sidetracked, give us a bit of a personal history and Richard's history as well. Like, how did you connect, and what do you bring to the table here?
Well, yeah, most recently, before coming to Bunker Hill, I spent quite a bit of time in Africa. So I worked for Barrick Gold, and for the past kind of 4 years, I was as the general manager of the Lumwana copper mine in Zambia. There was a bit of a turnaround project there. Stiff, difficulty in the copper price, coupled with kind of an undercapitalized, underloved asset. Some of the challenges that come with operating in Africa. So I spent some time there and really think we made some good progress. I was on my way to the London Business School at the time that the Randgold merger happened, and so I continued with those plans and spent the last year in London going to graduate school at the London Business School. Through that time, I stayed in close contact with Richard, who's the chief operating officer at Barrick, who had been brought in to run an operational turnaround in Barrick. When the Randgold merger came about as well, Richard stepped aside and made room for the new management team. And through that period, we stayed in contact, and we had developed really quite a good working relationship. And we were looking for an opportunity to do something entrepreneurial together. So we looked at a lot of assets. We looked, around the world, and we came across Bunker Hill, and it really aligned with what we felt the kind of company that we wanted to create, and the kind of space in the mining sector that one could come in and really create some meaningful value.
Yeah, fantastic. You're selling yourself a bit short, because I learned during doing my due diligence you were at one point groomed to become CEO of Barrick under John Thornton, and that was one of the reasons that triggered you to go to management school in London as well, from what I heard. So, don't sell yourself short. I think it's an interesting tidbit, because it leads a lot of credibility to what you're doing, and that's important. Same with Richard as well, being the ex-COO. And one reason why I like this story, you bring a different and fresh approach. So I was going to ask you, like, what is the biggest difference? You're coming from a major miner, now you're dealing with a junior mining company. Completely different universe, I assume. Like, what is the thing that shocked you or excited you the most about transitioning into the junior mining?
Well, I think what excited me the most was the ability to not only advance an asset, but build a company and build an organization. So on a daily basis, we're at the stage now where I do everything from take out the trash to be on calls like we're having today. And I think that that's an exciting stage to be able to be really focused on building a company from the ground up in every sense of what that means. Putting in place all the systems, strengthening the governance, in addition to the technical and the geologic aspects as well. It's really quite interesting, and that's what the motivation is that you can come to work every day and you can make a meaningful difference, and you can impact the trajectory of the entire organization every day, every decision you make.
Is there something that's completely shocked you, that's completely different in junior mining?
Well, certainly when you're in the junior mining space, what I found interesting is that the relationship with the capital markets is so important. There's not a without a cash flow stream to help fund the business. It's very important to make sure that you're focused on delivering results and delivering meaningful results with every dollar that you spend.
Very good point. And you mentioned cash, so that gives me a good opportunity to segue over to April 2020, and let's talk about it. You and Richard came in with your team, and you immediately kicked off a $20 million raise. You raised $20 million successfully. Run us through the history there. Who'd you bring in? Like, how do you approach the new project there?
Yeah, so what we were doing, and our approach was that at Bunker Hill there was funds in reserve when the mine closed for the final time in the 1990s. But that was not a 43101 compliant. That was before those regulations, and really the first thing that needed to happen that we felt to really kind of underpin the value of the asset was bring what we knew to be a high quality mineralization up to current technical standards. So that was the first push out of the gate. We did just under 9,000 feet of drilling. We took channel samples in the stope faces themselves. We went on a massive effort to digitalize all of the historic data, create a 3D geologic model, and really worked hard at making sure that we had a 43101 compliant resource that we could talk with some technical certainty and some confidence about in the market. And we were able to achieve that. We got that done. On the back of that, we are advancing both on the exploration front and on a PEA to investigate the opportunity for what we feel could be a pretty rapid restart and return to production. That's what we're busy on right now. We spent the fall season drilling on the surface. We're now drilling in the underground environment through the winter, and we're on track to have that work kind of come to a head at the end of the first quarter, and then based on that, we'll have some exciting decisions to make on what the next steps are and where we go from there.
Oh, exciting! And you already took a lot of points away from me from the like drilling. Like, where are you drilling right now? Fantastic. I want to stick to Capstructure for just one more second. So you raised $20 million, like, and that was very very early on, before you've done the 9,000 meters of drilling, before you even mentioned anything else really. Like, how did you get people over the line to put money and trust and faith in you, with Bunker Hill, an asset that obviously has a capital market history and not a good one. One of the first comments I got when we announced the interviews, like, Bunker Hill, you know what the history of this deal is, right? And, like, people haven't really seen, like, haven't made the transition yet, right? So, like, what did you tell people to get them over the line to give you $20 million in total?
Well, the first thing I think is that you talk about what you can really achieve, and you're realistic and you're honest, and you talk about not only the potential that exists, but the challenges that you face, and how you're going to go about tackling the challenges. I mean, I think another thing that quite honestly helped in a lot of those conversations was the fact that we're approaching this a bit different, than what has been the way it's been approached in the past. There's a couple of aspects of that. We're building an operating company, and our corporate headquarters are here in Kellogg, Idaho. And I'm here at the mine every day. This is my sole focus, and I'm putting my efforts 100% here at the mine. I see what's going on here every day. Everything from engaging with the drill crews at the drill sites, with the geology team, with the regulatory entities. This is it. It helps a lot to be focused here, to make things happen and make sure that the project is advancing quickly. I think that helped a lot. I think a lot of it as well, that some of the conversations we had that people found refreshing, was that we fully acknowledge the history, the environmental challenges, the corporate challenges that came before us, and we're not shying away from it. We're tackling it head on. We're looking to address it. And I think the other thing is the kind of the vision of the kind of company that we want to create. One that has an eye towards the future, that is looking to use technology to leverage and create value, and is also looking to operate in a very different way. Very focused on building a sustainable, long life, high margin mining operation.
ESG is one point you mentioned quite a bit, and the mine, as you said, has some environmental issues. There used to be leakage. You're treating water right now running out of the mine. And that's one thing. Like, when I met with Richard in October, I had the privilege of meeting him while I was in Toronto for a trip. And as you said, you're facing challenges head on. I really appreciate it. Like, he ran me through exactly what the challenges are, what he's looking at, what kind of disasters you have to clean up. Like, it's a super fun site. Like, it's not a secret, right? There is some cleanup to do. You also mentioned fast tracking to production. Like, what does that include? Like, you're doing a PEA right now. Run us through your timelines a little bit, and how are you planning to get there?
Well, some of the studies that we have on right now are, we're doing verification met testing. So, we have an inferred resource, but when you look at the technical data and the information, what's driving that categorization as inferred is not so much the density of information or the quality of the information. A lot of it is around needing to verify some of the aspects, metallurgy being one. We have 100 years worth of metallurgical data, but to be current and up to the best practice technical standards, we need to go through and we need to do our homework, and we need to do the work the right way to make sure that we verify and prove and we understand that. So on the met testing, there's a fair amount of work going on there. On the infrastructure, the re-electrification of the mine, some of the rehabilitation, processing is going to be a key aspect of the PEA. There is not a processing plant at Bunker Hill right now. As part of the environmental cleanup that that was done here. The processing plants were decommissioned and demolished, and we're looking at something that's a little bit different, a little bit interesting, but I think is really going to deliver a lot of value. And that's processing in the underground environment. So we're going to use a bulk of the tails coming out of the processing plant as a geotechnical fill to support the mining operation. We're looking at the remainder of the tails to be deposited in underground, which is pretty important because we won't have a surface expression of tails, so no tailings dams or the challenges and the impacts that come along with that. But at the same time, the idea is to use that tail stream and deposit it in the underground workings in the areas that are actually the genesis point for some of the water challenges that we face as well. And at the same time as that we're in production, you begin to mitigate some of those acid mine drainage challenges that the mine continues to face.
Okay. And you mentioned acid drainage, and I hinted at it before. I keep jumping around because I'm trying to pack everything in 20 minutes. So I hope everybody's bearing with me, but it's a complex story, and we only got a couple minutes left. But one thing I wanted to get to is the cash burn as well. You raised $20 million in March, April. How much are you burning in cash? I know water filtration or water treatment does cost money every month. You have option payments of $60,000 a month. Run us through your cash burn real quick and plans of keeping dilution down in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I start that by saying that we are, we're funded to finish the PEA and then carry forward through the rest of the year, covering, all of the overhead. So we're fully funded to conduct all of the work that we have on at the moment. You are right. There is a ongoing care and maintenance and holding costs associated with the site. That water treatment bill, the lease payments that we have, and really on the water treatment side, we have a lot of technical work on the go right now to see if they're, to implement really what we feel are some pretty simple and basic control measures in the mine that we expect to reduce that holding cost. And then with the lease payments, obviously, looking with an eye towards moving to finalize the purchase, at the right time when that makes sense. From a funding standpoint, I think that the PEA is going to be pretty informative. We're going to understand at that point, a lot of the trade-offs and what the future is looking like. And at that time, I think that with a 43-101 resource, with a PEA, with the technical work that's going into processing solutions, we're going to be at a point where when we look at the ability to finance and how we want to structure that going forward, we're going to have a lot of interesting options on the table to consider. I think that in a general sense, we're very aware that and would like to move forward in a way that, to the extent we can, protects the value in our equity. And I think that having a PEA, gives us options to be able to do that, which is why we're really focused on getting this PEA done.
On the PEA, I've written down in my notes a Q1 2021. Do you have a little more exact date for us, or is it a bit of a moving target right now still?
Well, it's of course we have the detailed project time, and what I can say is that we're moving pretty quickly on all fronts. All the contractors are in the pipeline, but at this point it'd be hard for me to circle a date on the calendar.
I didn't want the day, right? So it's just more end of Q1, early Q1, mid Q1. It's still a 3-month range.
I think that the way that I look at it is that I want to use as much time as I can to advance and get as much information as possible into that PEA. A lot of the drilling that we're doing, we're looking to incorporate that into not only an upgrade from inferred to indicated of portions of the inferred resource, but expansion of the resource as well. So from my perspective, it's a balancing act. We need that out, and we will have it out by the end of Q1. I want to take all the time available to me to get as much new information, as much work in as possible.
Fair
So
enough.
I think I'd say the last half of March as opposed to the first half.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And so, like, we're at the end of our time, unfortunately. So, what we usually like to do is, like, if you could run us through the news flow that you expect for the next few months, highlight obviously the PEA at the end of Q1. But what can we expect? You mentioned drilling. I don't think I've seen too many drill results yet. Just what can we look out for?
Yeah, I think if you look at the milestones that we're looking to stack up and we're working on ticking off as we go forward, I think the first one that you're going to see is that we are working on a TSXV listing. You expect that in the coming weeks. Certainly expect to have some some of the drill results coming out probably in the new year, early in the new year. Followed up with you'll see us continue to kind of strengthen and develop our management team, and that'll all lead into an updated resource and a PEA that'll kind of come in conjunction.
Gotcha. Are you planning on releasing resource and PEA together same day, or like what's the plan? Like, we've seen that happen before. Nothing wrong with it.
I think it's too early to tell, but I think that what we would expect to see is that we'd see that resource, of course, come first, and then that enables and allows the PEA to take into account the most recent and up-to-date resources possible.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, we're out of time. As I said before, like, we tried cramming as much as possible into 2020. What is it now? Oh, 27 minutes. Way over format length. So, but it was really informative. I really appreciate you taking the time and running us through Bunker Hill to your next steps. I think you're still an undiscovered gem to a degree based on the legacy in the capital markets. I don't think a lot of investors have looked your way yet. One of the reasons I like it, because there's no chatter on CEO.ca. You don't see much on Twitter yet. So I'm quite excited to be introducing the company here, at least to a degree, and hope we get you back on the program soon. To catch up with what's happening, and really enjoyed talking to you. Really appreciate it, and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, and we'll talk in the new year.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kai. I'm looking forward to coming back.
Everybody else, thanks for watching us. This was SF Live episode 109 with Sam Ash of Bunker Hill Mining. And please follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, hit the like, subscribe, and alert button. That way you get notified when we go live with another update. And really appreciate your feedback and comments, positive, negative. Let us know what we can do better. And we'd be happy to hear from you. Thank you so much, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode.